जारी रखने के लिए पूरी कोशिश करूंगा और इस्लाम की तबलीग को दुनिया के किनारों तक पहुंचाने के लिए इंतहाई कोशिश करता रहूंगा.
These were the words of Hadhrat Mirza Tahir Ahmad as he took an oath that would forever transform his life. He was no longer as other men. He was a man of God. It was the 18th day of December in the year 1928. The day brought news of the first ever train from Amritsar. The mood among the locals of Qadian was festive. Many of the elders of the town had gone to Amritsar to board the train and experience the historic journey. The commencement of the train service would usher a new era for the movement, as more people could now visit Qadian. This town was once home to Hadhrat Mirza Tahir Ahmad, peace be upon him, who claimed to be the promised Messiah. His son and the second successor of his movement, Hadhrat Mirza Tahir Ahmad, was now leading his cause. The day also brought further good news for Hadhrat Mirza Tahir Ahmad and his wife, Hazrat Maryam Siddiqa. It was the birth of their son, Tahir. His mother took every precaution to ensure his good health and upbringing. He grew up as a happy child, ready to play and take any challenge thrown at him. Being the son of the Khalifa, and also the only son of Hazrat Maryam Siddiqa, he occupied a privileged position, but he was never overprotected or spoiled. His mother wanted him to be a doctor or physician, but he was never interested in pursuing such a career.
अब्बा मुझे याद है ये कहा करते थे कि मेरी वालदा की बड़ी ख्वाहिश थी कि डॉक्टर बने मेरा बेटा और गुरबा का मुफ्त इलाज करे.
As a humble child, I started my life in the ordinary schools of Qadian. I was never a very brilliant student, but always I was interested in human affairs, in social works and so on and so forth. So I managed to scrape through in my school education.
At the young age of 16, he had to bear a poignant loss.
His mother died in 1944 when he was appearing in his matriculation examination. During that period, his mother died.
Despite his grief at this difficult time in his life, he continued with his studies. He developed an interest not only in classical Urdu writers, but also Shakespeare, Charles Dickens, Conan Doyle, and other English writers. He started writing poetry. He also developed a deep interest in the study of the Holy Quran and started to memorize it, but soon realized that he was more interested in the meaning of the words. He took studying the Quran intently. He discovered his father's library and started reading books on Darwin's theory of evolution. Although he never had doubts about Islam or the existence of God, he started investigating the possibility of the existence of God on a logical basis.
I have myself researched into this issue because right from my childhood it has been bothering me in so many ways. And because the religion I believe in is a religion of which I am completely convinced. Those parts of which I was not convinced, I have been praying about them and also making my own investigations, so that today as I stand, I can say honestly that I believe in everything which I claim I believe in, through conviction, not through dogmatism.
In his biography, he stated that one afternoon he went through an experience which resolved for him forever the question of the existence of God. The experience, he said, could not be looked upon objectively as a potent proof of the existence of God, but he had no doubt that it was God's answer. I was in a state of semi-consciousness, halfway between a dream and reality. I saw the entire earth squeezed into a ball. There was no creation of any sort visible, no life, no cities, nothing, just the earth. Then I saw each particle of the world tremble and burst out into a slogan, "Ah, God." Each particle was proclaiming the reason for its existence. The whole world was flooded with a strange light, and every atom of the earth began to swell and contract in rhythm. I found myself repeating the words, "Our God." As he returned to full consciousness, he could still see it happening. Although he never had any doubts, this experience affirmed his faith in an unshakable belief in God's existence. The political situation of the subcontinent of India in the 1940s became very fragile. The British monarchy had decided that the subcontinent should be divided into two separate nations, one for Hindus and one for Muslims, and be given independence. Muslims and Hindus had lived for years as neighbors, but at the height of the unrest, without rationale, suddenly hated each other. No one was safe. Hadhrat Mirza Tahir Ahmad was now a strong young man and part of the Ahmadiyya youth movement, Ahmadiyya. He was among many from Ahmadiyya who formed into companies and battalions for the defense of Qadian. He was appointed as the officer in charge of one of these units. His task was to organize the defense of the center of Qadian. In August 1947, the community faced an unexpected crisis. The entire area had fallen inside the territory allocated to India. His father, the head of the community, ordered the evacuation of Qadian.
At that time, my late father was sent a message by late Mahatma Gandhi exactly pointing out to him the so-called mistake he was about to commit. My father then in a sermon, he told Ahmadis in very clear terms what was in store for them. He said, "We are opting for Pakistan, yet I assure you that in Pakistan you will be dealt with so cruelly and you will be deprived of all your rights ultimately, that if I tell you now you will shudder and the weak among you may have heart failures. But there is no option. Because once we accept, we opt out of the Muslim Ummah, for us physically and politically it may seem to be an easier, more acceptable cause. But to the message of Ahmadiyyat, that will be a deadly poison. So whatever decision was taken with full knowledge of what was to happen.
Leaving 313 Ahmadis behind to look after the property of the community until they could return, the members of the community migrated. In Pakistan, the community established a new center on a 1,034-acre site near the west bank of the river Chenab. It was called Rabwa. All the sons of Hazrat Mirza Bashiruddin Mahmud Ahmad had been dedicated to the service of the community, including Hadhrat Mirza Tahir Ahmad. He started working in the youth movement, Ahmadiyya, and proved to be a good administrator and an exceptionally hard worker.
When he became a Khadim, he became a Saik and then proceeded through the various responsibilities within the organization of Majlis Ahmadiyya, culminating in being a Naib Sadr and ultimately Sadr Majlis Ahmadiyya. At that time it was for the whole world, and he served in that position for many years.
Along with the service to the community, he continued his secular studies at Government College, Lahore.
The Government College, Lahore, a very reputable institution in the north of India, particularly in the Punjab, and there I studied for 4 years. I went originally for BSc, Bachelor of Science, but ended up by getting an ordinary degree, bachelor's degree. And again I studied in an Ahmadiyya institution and did my doctorate on comparative religion, particularly in the study of Islam.
By 1954, Rabwa was a town